Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Gavin. I can only apologise for the lack of uploads recently. I've just had a lot of uni deadlines and that, so I've got to prioritise. But to make up for it, we've got a double upload coming to you today. That's because we're going to be reviewing the 2003 cult movie The Room and the newly released movie The Disaster Artist, which tells the story of the creation of The Room and the genius behind it, if you can call him that, Tommy Wiseau. And the first thing we're actually going to be reviewing is The Room itself, directed by, produced by, and starring Tommy Wiseau. I myself watched this first in anticipation of The Disaster Artist, and wow, am I glad I did. The Room is one of, if not the most well known, so bad it's good movies. It really achieved cult status not long after it came out. I'm generally not a fan of these types of movies. I don't really understand the appeal of them. I know there's quite a considerable market for it now, but the few which I have watched I've really struggled to stay with. But if ever there was an exception though, it's this. And in many ways it's probably the funniest thing I've ever seen, not even joking. I mean, just where to start? The plot is laughably underdeveloped. Lisa begins cheating on her fiance Johnny with his best friend Mark. That's pretty much it really. You may be surprised to hear I've seen better films with more simple premises than that. So I'm not saying that simplicity is necessarily a bad thing, but it is a bad thing here. I mean, the characters are not even given the slightest hint of a backstory. Nah, that's way too much to ask for. On top of that, we're not even told who some of the characters are until several scenes into the film. Denny is meant to be this kid who Johnny is like a father figure to. Johnny pays his tuition fees, they live in the same building. But we're not told that until about half an hour into the film. And in one of the very first scenes, Denny walks into Johnny and Lisa's house. They leave him to go upstairs. Then just as they're about to make one of the film's painfully long, cringe-inducing love scenes, Denny jumps onto the bed. They tell him to beat it. And he's like, nah, I just love watching you guys. But bear in mind we don't even know who this guy is yet. It doesn't help that I think he's meant to be like 18, but the actor plays him like 30. I'm just left to assume it's some sort of weird voyeuristic thing they've got going on. You can only imagine my confusion later in the film when I was kindly told exactly what everyone's real relationships are. Just another thing I picked up which was awful, and there really is a variety of riches to choose from, was Tommy Wiseau's acting. How some of his scenes made it into the film really baffles me, and I think most people are going to notice that as well. I know he was the director and producer, but evidently there was no other quality control in place other than that, which, well, isn't great. I don't even think there's one scene where you could say he does an acceptable job in. And he's in most of the scenes, in a 1 hour and 40-minute film. He's got this exact same expression on his face 90% of the time, and he seems to always react the polar opposite to what would suit the situation. It's like anti-acting. How on earth is this guy an actor? And I'm honestly not even scratching the surface of all the mistakes made in this film. I couldn't. If I went through them all, I would be here all day. I've watched and read reviews of a considerable length, which don't even touch upon some of the stuff I noticed when I was watching it. And I'm sure you'll find several more if you watch it. To be honest, I think if you kept your eye out for it, you could probably pick up something every single minute, which you think, how did that end up into the final cut? Even the title is nonsensical. Why is it called The Room? Obviously some scenes are filmed in rooms. That tends to be the case in most films, but I wouldn't say it takes place predominantly in a single room. But to be honest, that's to be expected. I'd actually be disappointed if the title made sense, given pretty much the whole rest of the film doesn't. I'm not going to give a rating out of 10 on this occasion, because I just think it would be arbitrary and pointless. I mean, if I was going to give one, it's a terrible film. It would probably be hanging around the 1 out of 10 mark, but that just wouldn't be fair, because that's not really the way in which you're meant to enjoy the film. And trust me, you definitely can enjoy it. It's hilarious, and it's got a strange kind of charm to it. Of course it has to be taken into account that it wasn't the aim of the film to be so bad that it's funny. But there are a lot of modern films that do try to recreate that, and they don't manage to do it to a single ounce of the room. I'd definitely go and say give this a watch. Maybe do the same as me, watch it before The Disaster Artist. Like I say, I'm generally not too into these films, so if you usually aren't either, I still think you'll really like it and enjoy it. Thanks for watching, I'll see you soon.